Today, I have a beautiful conversation with Neala. This is a super special interview as Neala is the first mother that I've spoken with so far that has birthed her twin babies free of the medical system. Her mothering journey started at the age of 18 years old, where she had her first three babies born within the medical system. After reading through her medical records and not being treated with respect throughout those pregnancy and birth experiences, Neala decided that her next babies would be born free of the medical system. Neala had her first free birth experience, birthing a baby at around 3 months gestation at home with her partner, and then another early release right after that while being supported by her whole family. After those pregnancy releases, Neala finally had full-term pregnancies with her fourth and fifth baby, and then most recently birthed her twins at home with a supportive family. This is such a wonderful story to showcase how birthing babies, no matter how many are present in the womb, is not a high risk or medical experience, and those babies, all babies, can be born safely, ecstatically, and peacefully at home. Hello, Neala. Welcome, and thank you so much for being a part of the Free Birthing in Color movement.
Thank you for having me, Karma. I'm really, really excited. I'm usually a
Me.
really shy, nervous person, but I'm actually really excited for this.
Oh, no, don't be nervous. This is going to be such a wonderful conversation. As I was saying before, I'm so excited because you are the first woman that I have spoken with that's had a twin free birth. So I think this is just going to be such a magical, amazing story to hear how, yeah, all of your births until the twins most recently. So
Yeah.
So let's just get straight into it because I'm sitting on pins and needles, so ready to hear it all. What the first question is, what is your ancestry and your lineage you're passing on to your children?
Well, I was born here in Australia, so I'm Australian, but my dad and his family were all born in Chile. And he came over as a late teen to Australia. Um, my nan is the youngest of 13 children. And
Wow.
I just feel like really connected to my ancestors because, and my ancestral line in Chile because I'm already up to my seventh child. I feel like
Mhm.
we're connected. My great grandma, I'm connected somewhere there
Mhm.
for the love of birth. So yeah, I feel really connected to my Chilean heritage. Um, and yeah, I just think it's really yeah, I'm really proud that I'm passing this story onto my children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're the first Chilean woman. I believe you're the first South African woman that I've spoken with. No, that's not true.
No,
Or, pardon,
no,
not
this
South
is South.
African,
Yeah.
sorry, South American, sorry. um,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, if I remember correctly, you are the first South American woman that I have spoken with as well.
Yeah. So yeah, South American. Yeah.
Yeah, so representing South America. I'm
Yeah.
so excited that, yeah, we're getting stories from women all around the world. This is exactly what I want.
Yeah. And I love that. And that's why, yeah, I was thinking the way you're connecting everyone around the world through free birthing in color is amazing and really just groundbreaking for women. And I
Mhm.
just, yeah, I'm so proud of you and I'm just excited.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, the next question I want to get into is where does your motherhood journey begin?
I became a mother at 18. So I was at high school doing my HSC, which is yeah, your last year of high school. And I fell pregnant with my partner, who I'm still with today. So we've been together for 16 years.
Wow.
and and yeah, so I stayed at school while I was pregnant, and I felt that I didn't want to quit school. So I finished yeah, my schooling, and then 2 months after that, I gave birth to my son, and he was in my first three births. So him and my other two were in hospital because at 18 I wasn't exposed to, like, I didn't really even understand the whole pregnancy. Like I just
Mhm.
pretty much learned as I went.
Mhm.
And because yeah, we I finished school, but we didn't learn too much about pregnancy or anything like that at school either. So I learned everything through my pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I just thought the most important thing at the time was giving birth vaginally and without medication. So I thought that was the main thing. But where I look back on it now, it's not, it is very important, but being at home with your family birthing is where we should be. but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but at the time, that was my goal, and
Mm-hmm.
I conquered it. And I thought I was on top of the world, and thought I love birth. And I suppose that's just my story. Each
Mm-hmm.
birth, I just kind of I learned and unlearned things about birth, and yeah, so it started at 18
Okay.
with my
Wow.
first.
Can you go a little bit into that because you said you had the hospital birth? So how was that like for you as a teenager? Like were you treated respectfully? Did they, even though they didn't quite give you that information of you could birth at home, but like what was that experience of being a teen birthing within the medical system? Was it a lot of fear mongering because you were so young, or like how was that? And then
yeah,
leading
I
into the
think
birth.
yeah, I think because I went from school to hospital, I kind of was in that position where I was looking for information all the time from other people. Like,
Mm.
kind of, I went from one system to another system,
Mm,
like
yeah.
from school to hospital.
Hmm.
And so I was always thinking, I went to every prenatal appointment. I went and got every test done.
Okay.
Um, so I was kind of like that good girl, kind
Mm,
of have to stay in that, like, yeah, please, people pleaser. Like, I was
mm,
pleasing the obstetrician, the midwives, by weighing myself every week and things like that.
mm,
And because I was unaware, and being my first pregnancy, I remember the hospital, like my obstetrician kept sending me to the hospital, thinking, oh, I might get induced today, because my blood pressure was high. I had protein in my urine. Just the constant testing just kept
mhm,
leading me back to the hospital. Like, I don't know
mhm,
how many times I went back up there for them to go, oh, you're fine, go home.
mm,
And I suppose I thought that was normal, like, to be treated. And um and in labor with my first, it was kind of like, I definitely felt, looking back, I was on a clock,
mm,
because I remember, yeah, my obstetrician coming in and breaking my waters and
mm.
just constantly timed, as in, you're this centimeters, you're only 6 centimeters, you're only this, you're only that. And then with my second and third pregnancies, I kind of was like, I really don't want to be treated like that, but I didn't know there was other options to not birth in the system. So I still went back to the hospital, but I knew that I wanted to spend as less time possible in the hospital, and so I'd stay at home in labor as long as I could feel like I could, and then end up at the hospital for them.
Mm,
Funny enough, to tell me to go back home, and they told me I wasn't in labor,
mm.
and I wasn't crying enough, I wasn't loud enough when I, like, showed up to the hospital,
Is this with
presenting
your
in labor.
first?
No,
Sorry.
this is my second and third
Okay.
pregnancy. So from my first, I knew what labor felt like. So for my second and third, I knew when I was in labor. So
Mm-hmm.
again, the system not trusting me when I
Mm-hmm.
said I'm presenting at the hospital, I'm in labor, and
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "No, you're not in labor." Um, and they would go, "You're not loud enough. Yeah, you're not screaming. You just got here." Because for my second, I just arrived there, and I pretty much said, my baby's coming. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, you just got here, um your baby's not coming. Like, and I'm like, I think I need a push. And then they were still like, no, I don't think you're in labor. And then for my third pregnancy, they put me in a prenatal room. They wouldn't even put me in a labor ward. They put me in a prenatal room, and I stayed there for like half an hour, in not in tears from labor, but in tears that they wouldn't give me a bed. Like, I was like, or a
Mm,
room. I'm like, I am in labor. And like, my partner was like, there was no one in the corridors, nowhere to be found. Um and so, yeah, I was upset for my third that I was left in a room. Not,
yeah.
and I and I was still young too, because I started to have babies so young. So I had 18, 21, and then 23. So still, I didn't find my voice yet. and
Mm-hmm.
um and yeah, so and my second and third labors were only 2 3 hour labors, so I wasn't even at the hospital for long. And then I gave birth to them so quickly there, but yeah, they just wouldn't believe me that I was in labor. And so
Mm-hmm.
pretty much from that third labor, I was like, I can't do this anymore in the system. And then for my fourth one, me and my partner, I
Oh,
spoke
wait,
to
wait,
him
wait.
and
Sorry. Before you go on to these
oh
births, I
yeah,
just want to ask you a couple things about the first three. So
yeah.
after your first baby, do you know what happened to your placenta? Did you keep it or did the
Oh
hospital take it?
yeah.
Like what was
So the first two, like yeah, my first two pregnancies, they kept my placenta and they didn't say anything about my placenta. And funny enough, for my second pregnancy, I didn't find out until I think 5 years later because I was looking at hospital notes and
mm,
I was looking at my son's notes and it said my second son, he had a battledore placenta, which is the insertion of the cord was at the end, not in the
oh,
middle of the placenta.
mm-hmm,
And when I read that, my heart just sank, and I thought, like, I didn't get to look at it, I didn't get to keep it,
mm-hmm,
and but they were happy to write that on a hospital note, and
mm-hmm.
so I was quite upset um, finding out years later that my son actually had a different type of placenta. And
Yeah.
also with his birth, he actually was coming out in his bag of
Mm-hmm.
like waters. And I remember when I was pushing him out, like I heard the midwives laughing or giggling, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what happened. But then next minute they got like a metal rod and broke his waters telling
Oh.
me, without telling me that he was coming out of his waters. And then it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until I went back to my labor, the hospital room. Another midwife said, "Oh, the midwife just told me that your baby was coming out in the bag of waters." And that's when I was like, "Oh, I knew something was happening, but no one was telling me." But again,
Right.
it was like a gossip in the hospital, but they never came and spoke to me or said anything to me at the time.
That's
And
terrible.
yeah, so I was a bit devastated with that. But with this last pregnancy, I felt like I missed out on those precious moments. So this pregnancy, I kind of really manifested that I wanted a baby in its bag of waters. Like I was like, I really want a baby so I could experience it, see it, and feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll talk about my last birth
How
because
was your postpartum
yeah.
with this first baby
Oh,
being so young?
so yeah, I know my postpartum emotions were probably my worst was after my first.
Mm.
Um, I felt like I was just so sore down there, like and just being picked and prodded. And I got with my first one, I got a few stitches. I didn't tear, but again, I think they just wanted to fix me straight away and just get me out. So I
Mm.
might have had like a little bit of a graze, but they decided to stitch me um, in little spots. And I just felt really sore, just depressed and sad after my first one. And the whole
Mhm.
breastfeeding was hard, but I kept breastfeeding. I've been consecutively breastfeeding for 13 years. So I
Wow.
never gave up.
Wow.
And so I've never given up, but I just remember how hard it was as an 18-year-old with no
Mhm.
friends because my friends were all at school and finishing school and going to uni and just kind of just being their age, I suppose. So I was very isolated from friends and like
Mm.
just yeah, I didn't know about like the women village finding other pregnant mothers and things like that because yeah, I just
Mhm.
didn't know at the time. It
Yeah.
wasn't until the last few years that I really connected with a lot of women
Mm.
through home births and free births and things like that. But
Okay.
yeah, I remember the very first pregnancy, postpartum was horrible.
Mhm.
um, and yeah, the second two wasn't as bad, but yeah, that first one, yeah, it was yeah, a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
lot to go through,
yeah,
being so young, having your first baby, and like you said, just kind of doing what everybody else is telling you, and then
yeah,
also finding out that, these midwives or nurses or whomever they are were doing things to your body and to your baby, and then talking about it with like everybody else except for you.
yeah,
That's so
yeah,
disrespectful for one thing, and like just not appropriate to to be had as medical professionals, as they call
Yeah.
themselves. Like that's terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, from then on, that's when I kind of spoke to my husband, and I was like, I think I don't want to have any more babies in the hospital. And I think he was a bit wowed by it because, like, again, we're in a country town in Australia, so no one talks about free birth, no one talks about home births and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So he was very surprised, but he was very supportive. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so we fell pregnant with our fourth child, and um I didn't get I got my free birth, but unfortunately 3 months in I had started contracting, and I had lost my first baby and first person, and no one close to me has ever passed away. So to be
Mm-hmm.
like, I would just remember how, like, yeah, heartbreaking it was for me to go through that at the time too, because again, I didn't know what a pregnancy loss was. I didn't know what to expect. No one
Mm-hmm.
talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember it's exactly like labor. You have
Mm-hmm.
contractions every few minutes when the baby's about to pass.
Yeah.
Um, and no one tells you that, like, you go to the toilet because you things are coming out. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of more like, yeah, when you're in labor, it's that natural pose to just kind of sit on the toilet and release things.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and my partner were very like not upset, but like, yeah, just really kind of traumatized that we had to keep kind of looking through the toilet
Oh
um
yeah.
and kind of trying to find, we didn't know what we had to find. Like, we had never
Mm-hmm.
seen anything like it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then, yeah, around midnight, I felt like a really big urge and a big, like, ball of a clot, like, yeah, a big clot. And it's when I pulled it out of the toilet, and we opened
Mm-hmm.
the clot up, and we seen our little baby.
Oh.
And yeah, I remember, like, little hands and feet, and it was just really beautiful that I got my first free birth.
Yeah.
It might have been different, but I
Mm-hmm.
was still really proud that, and I felt like proud that we didn't go to the hospital, we didn't go and see anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to pass this baby at home, and I got to tell the kids that we had lost the baby.
Mm-hmm.
and so, like, yeah, I didn't get my ideal free birth, but I got a free birth at the time. And I thought,
Yeah.
like I said to Mitchell, like, this is really, like, yeah, heartbreaking, but we got to experience it at home. And we didn't, I know a lot of people have to go and get, like, dialect, like the DCs, the, like,
Oh
how they
yeah.
get, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those things. So I was really happy that it all came out naturally. and
Mm-hmm.
um and but unfortunately, around the morning, I think it was more out of shock and just the emotions that um I I said to Mitchell, I said, I think I need to go to hospital. I think there might be something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay, like, trusting that I knew what I was doing. And I went up to the hospital and told them that I had lost the baby, and they were very, like, concerned about where this baby was, and as in, like, did you bring it to the
Mm-hmm.
hospital? And I said, no, it's at home. And then they put me in a little room, because
Mm-hmm.
in my heart and head I was hoping that it has to be twins. There must be another one in there, like, how you just hope for the
Mm-hmm.
best sort of outcome. And
Yeah.
then they bring in a counselor, and this woman was like, don't show the baby, or don't show your kids the baby, it will traumatize them, like, kind of really.
What?
Yeah, so because I had told her that I'd passed the baby, and we
Yeah.
knew it was a baby. It looked like a little baby, just a little miniature baby.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she was like, yeah, don't show your other kids, because yeah, I had three other kids at home with my mum. And then, yeah, so she was very, like, determined to tell me, like, just, yeah, either bring it into the hospital, or, yeah, just don't. Like, I know, I just felt like I was very triggered by her saying that. Like, I was thinking,
Yeah.
like, this is my business. Like, I don't know, like, I felt,
Exactly.
yeah. And we're pretty open family with my kids. And but yeah, as soon as we got home, we mourned the baby. All the kids, like, got to hold and held, and we had that moment together as a family, and
Mm.
wasn't gonna let that lady like interfere at all with our grieving process.
No, and that's so
Um,
like that's the dumbest advice I've ever heard of a
yeah,
doctor. Like, don't show your other kids this. It's like that's just the part of your life now. You were
yeah,
pregnant and you told your children, and now you're not. Like, they need to
yeah,
be informed of this as well. That's so crazy.
yeah. Yeah. So, um, yeah. So we had our first loss, and yeah, I was that was very like yeah, I just can't explain that feeling of losing someone, yeah, so close to you, and then we fell pregnant again, and because yeah, we were trying. So yeah, we fell pregnant again, and but before that, my partner was like, "Oh, let's go travel, um, and go on a little holiday." So we went on a few like 2 week holiday, and we ended up in Central Australia, and which is like a really just beautiful, beautiful like indigenous country culture. Like it's just so beautiful there. And then unfortunately I had lost this baby there as well. And I just felt it was in June, and I called the baby little June bug because it was only a few weeks into my pregnancy as well. And it was just really um I felt just I wasn't as like upset, but I just felt really connected in this place that yeah, I felt held by this place. Like it was just such a beautiful place. I was with my family again. We weren't in any hospitals, and it was just that we were just all together, mourning but celebrating, and just kind of it was beautiful again that I got a free birth again. Not the ideal free birth, but everything like I just each birth just kept getting better and better the way I could respond to it. And then because the advice that I give to a lot of women now is when you feel like you're having a pregnancy loss to get a rice strainer, and sit on it on the toilet instead of trying to, because a lot of women would say I lost my baby down the toilet, like, and things like that. And now I'm just like, get a rice strainer, get your pasta strainer and sit on it on the toilet. So it's just kind of, again, you just learn from your pregnancies, and you just hope that um, other women share that knowledge and wisdom as well with other women. So it's something that I'd like to share as well, that if ever you felt like you were losing a baby, yeah, get a rice strainer to sit on the toilet so you don't have to, yeah, go through the process of going through the toilet. um, yeah. I think we've lost,
Oh,
I think I've
there.
lost
Am I
yours.
back?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry. Um, may I ask then, with the two babies that had the early releases, did you like what did you do with the babies? Did you bury them? Did you and your family
Yeah.
have like a ceremony for those children?
Yeah. So at the front of our house, we have my husband built up a little retaining wall, and
Mm,
with our with I didn't mention with my third pregnancy, they did actually tell me that I could have my placenta. So it was only
mhm,
my first two that I didn't have their placenta. So my third one, we buried it at the front of the house, and then that was in the ground. But then my partner built like a retaining wall. Like I know that was his way of mourning, because
mhm.
he went and built that all that same day. Like it was his
Okay.
way of
Mhm,
mourning and dealing with the loss. So he knew straight
mhm,
away that we wanted a ceremony. So so we have this little garden at the front with placentas and with our
mhm.
babies, and yeah, so
Wow.
it's quite special. Yeah,
Mhm.
sort of guarding, not guarding the house, but like just yeah, it's the first thing that you see when you first come in. Beautiful frangipanis and
Yeah.
hibiscus. So
Oh.
yeah, it's really beautiful. So yeah,
That
we
is, yeah, that's so beautiful because then you can still honor, your live babies with their placentas and the babies
yeah,
that passed early and still have
yeah,
that
it
remembrance.
was yeah, really beautiful yeah experience, and yeah, really like honored that we got to have that ceremony together.
Mm-hmm.
So and then yeah, so we still kept trying, and then yeah, I fell pregnant with my fourth child,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew he was staying around. I just had a feeling, like I just knew that this little baby, this baby boy was sticking around, and that's when I was like, we're having this baby at home, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when yeah, I was reading every book imaginable, like hearing every story. And that's what we need. We need these stories, because then when people like me at the time that's never had a free birth, never knew you could have babies at home, we kind of start looking for
Mm-hmm.
people to look up to listen. So yeah, so I was on that. Yeah, it's on that whole. I need to know about
Yes.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You get on
Yeah,
that
and
train where it's just like, give me all the information. I need it,
yeah,
which is, yeah, it's
totally
beautiful.
different
It's
with my other
good.
pregnancies. It was kind of more like you sit back and you wait for people
Hmm.
to tell you what to do. But this one, I was like, I'm looking, I'm getting it, I'm there.
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, so that was a pivotal moment in time. So I was around 27. So
Mhm.
yeah, so almost 10 years after, yeah, that I've kind of gone like put my foot down, was like, this is what birth is now.
Hmm.
um, yeah, so um, my and then his was, I was sleeping during the night. My waters broke
Oh,
at
wait,
two
wait,
o'clock
wait.
in the morning.
So
Oh
for this one, because this is your first wild
yeah,
pregnancy, can you
yeah.
go into like what you did
Oh
for the
yeah,
wild pregnancy and how you felt and how it was different comparative to your pregnancies where you were going to the medical system?
yeah. Yeah, so I went from medical system monthly to weekly appointments to absolutely nothing. Like there was no ultrasound, just went clean. Like, so I didn't go get tests done.
Mm.
Yeah, I had no ultrasounds. I drew a lot of pictures in that
Mm.
pregnancy, and I would say to my husband, "That's my ultrasound." It was like me looking through the window, and I'd
Mm.
draw pictures of like my previous losses, like little
Mm.
angels, and then my new rainbow baby, and like yeah, it was just
Mm.
my room's just very arty.
Oh.
And yeah, so that was, I would say, my window into the baby was just drawing pictures and connecting with the baby,
Hmm.
just yeah, consciously like that, instead of relying on other people again to tell me that's your baby, you're pregnant. Yeah, so again, telling people that I hadn't had ultrasounds and things like that, it was kind
Mm.
of weird, because that was kind of like, oh, like, how do you know you're pregnant? Or how do you know
Right.
how far along you are? How do you know like those type of questions?
Yeah.
And yeah, people just don't realize how much you actually connect more by not having those tests with your baby. Like
And people don't
yeah.
realize that women can actually like know their bodies, right? It's like you know you're pregnant because it's happening to your body. You're the one that
Yeah,
had been missing your bleeds. It's so crazy that people will be like, "Well, how do you know you're pregnant? You didn't take a
yeah,
test. You haven't had an ultrasound." Like that can't be true. It's like, are
yeah.
you kidding me? It's my body and I know I'm pregnant. I've been pregnant multiple times. I know what this
I
feels
know.
like.
Yeah, so that
Mm.
was kind of like a shock for everyone. And I remember um I started being a bit more open on my social media, like just my private social media,
Mhm.
about like the birthing system, how I was kind of like awakening to it, and how home births, like they seem more safer than going to hospitals. And then I started getting like private messages with like articles going, this mother who home birth died, this baby,
Oh
like it was
gosh.
kind of like this scare I
Yeah.
felt from my friends and people, like so even though I left the system, people were like, you could
Mm-hmm.
die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They always just try and say, like, oh no, 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 no. This will happen to you because I saw it on a television show, or this
Yes.
woman that happened all the way across the world who had crazy circumstances. Like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
God.
so that was kind of like like so yeah. But yeah, so that so
So
yeah,
silly.
night I remember, yeah, my waters broke. So I had never like had so my waters broke. Yeah, two of them were broken by the hospital.
Mm.
Um and then my third one, she came out with her waters.
Okay.
So this was my first time actually experiencing just waters breaking on their
Mm.
own. And at the time I was like, oh my god, this is different. Like I'm like, because I was relying on previous pregnancies that they all kind of were similar. I can have a baby at home. So I remember going like, oh no, Mitchell, it's different. Like, can we still birth at home? But like, yeah, but we just like Mitch is like, go back to sleep. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and he hates losing sleep because I seem to have nighttime, early morning babies and lose all nighttime sleep. So he's like, let's just have some sleep. And then I just could not get back to sleep. But so the next morning I was just walking around, chilling with the kids, making banana cake, just kind of like
Mm.
just waiting for something to happen. Like, and so I was on the yoga board having some cup of tea, and then yeah, so around I think 10 o'clock, um, I started kind of getting these waves, and I was like, oh, I think this is it. Like it was exciting. Like I don't know,
Mhm.
like all the other ones you kind of like freak out, go to hospital, like rush.
Mhm.
Where I was kind of like just waiting for this labor to start. I was so excited, and I'm like, oh, I
Mhm.
think it's starting. And then so it was another quick labor too. So he was so from 10 and he came out around 12. And
Mhm.
yeah, so in between that, um I was just kind of moving around a lot. I went to the bath, and then like my kids were in there taking photos of me. And so at
Mhm.
the time, yeah, one's probably 9, one's 7, and one's 4.
Mhm.
And so like they're all around the bathtub. And my daughter is like, yeah, just massaging my back. and
Aw.
and yeah, and yeah, so everyone's involved, everyone's like excited and waiting. And then yeah, then our baby arrived. And like all the kids were crying, we're all crying, we're just like, we did it. Like it was kind of like, yeah, that full height of emotions kind of yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it was amazing. Like just you
Oh,
can't
wow.
explain that whole I did it, like I don't know. Like,
And how
um
beautiful was that to have all your three children to see that
yeah, again,
too?
never ever had kids in the labor ward at hospitals. And yeah, to have three
Mhm.
of the kids just there, like it was
Mhm.
just normal. Like everything just seemed so beautiful. And another thing a friend would tell me as well was, how would your placenta come out if you were at hospital? Because don't they give you the needles for the placenta to come out? And so
Right.
I was like, oh, no, 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 your body actually naturally expels. So like, yeah, so then my placenta came out within minutes after
Mhm.
giving birth. So
Mhm.
yeah, and it was just there. Everything was just beautiful. It was quiet, and I loved the smell of it. It was stayed in my
Mhm.
bathroom for so much longer, so I could, yeah,
Yeah.
just soak it all up instead of being
Totally.
like pushed out of your room and put into another room, sort of thing. So yeah, so
Mhm.
we were just like soaking into the, like, yeah, it's just the smells, just everything was just so beautiful. And
Mhm.
yeah, I was just really proud of myself.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah.
and I felt what felt like the longest pregnancy. So yeah, it was like from the two losses and then falling pregnant. I just felt like I was pregnant for so long, and I finally like had
Right.
this beautiful baby. Like, so it
Yeah.
was that relief as well that I'm like, I've got my baby. But
Mhm.
the whole birthing at home was kind of like, it just, something just happened, and I just felt like I need to tell the world, I need to tell everyone how amazing this is. And
Mhm.
so yeah, so that, then I was just off that journey. And then I remember after my first pregnancy, I was like, never again. Like after birth, like after I
Mhm.
pushed my first baby out of the hospital, I was like, oh my God, I never want to have a baby again. And
Mhm.
then after my fourth at home in the bathtub, I was like, Mitchell, let's do this again.
Yeah, I hear that from so many women when they have their in their power birth at home with their family,
Yeah.
loved ones. They're just like, we need to have more babies. This was amazing. Yeah. And
So
that's how birth is designed to be. Like you're meant to
yeah.
have your children and then want to do it again.
Yeah, and have it because you want it, not because it's chore to tick off. Like, I have 2 kids now, go back,
Hmm.
like kind of go like, yeah, go back to work, do that. Where I
Yeah.
just felt like I like I want more. I love this family. This is like,
Mm.
this feels like it's been missing our whole life. This is
Yeah.
like, people don't realize they're missing it because they've never felt that experience of birthing with their family, with at
Hmm.
home. And it just was crazy. Like I went from my bathtub to like a meter to my bed. Like it was
Hmm.
just so relaxed, and so it was such a
Oh.
beautiful postpartum. As in, I just laid in bed, like, yeah, it was beautiful.
Hmm.
And then we did fall pregnant straight away.
Okay.
So, I think my son was 8 months, and I fell pregnant again. And
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah,
That's
so they're
quick.
1.5 years apart, and I would joke around and go, this is as close as they're going to be to having twins. They're so like close.
Mhm.
And so I was really happy that they were really close because their bond
Mhm.
was so beautiful. But So again, another wild pregnancy, no ultrasounds, no testing, no nothing.
Mm.
And I didn't, oh, with my yeah, with the fourth one, I did go to an appointment because I kept getting told that needed to make a paper trail to say that this was like you're
Oh,
pregnant. So
right.
even though
Yeah.
I declined all the tests and things, I still made an appointment with the midwife to go, I showed up, I'm pregnant, you see me, sort of thing. And
Okay.
I
Yeah.
remember them going like, just stay here for a minute. And then I said, okay. And they sent me to another room to an obstetrician. And then the obstetrician was like, why haven't you had any ultrasounds? And I'm like, because this baby's going to come out of me vaginally anyways. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, your baby could have no legs or feet. Your
Oh,
baby could have like all
ugh.
these things. And I said to her, I said, it could have anything. I said, one, I would never abort. Everyone has their own choices, but I said, because
Mm-hmm.
my choice, I wouldn't abort a baby. So I know it's coming out of me vaginally. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever happens, happens. And I
Yeah.
accept that. And that's
Yeah.
my responsibility, not yours. And
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, I told her I would be taking care of my baby, whether it has whatever reasons wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very stern. And like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my fourth pregnancy, I was very like, no. um,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, but then this time around, and then I did like yeah, I don't know why, but with my fourth, I did step on the scales when I had my first midwife appointment, and then they told me that my BMI was too high and that I would have to give birth to another hospital. Um, Even though I had 3 hospital births in this area, they said you're gonna have to go to another. So they must have just brought in a new ruling about BMIs, like
Right. Which makes
um,
no sense whatsoever.
yeah,
Like measuring a
even though
woman's weight in pregnancy makes no sense unless she's like gained like 200, 300 pounds and it's like,
yeah,
is something going on? What's happening? But like other than
yeah,
that, like if it's not something that's very severely drastic, like who cares? Women should be gaining
yeah.
weight in pregnancy. You're growing a child. You should be eating lots of
Yeah.
food. Like enjoy it.
And like, yeah, I'd go back to my partner. I'm like, they just told me if I like, because we knew we are having a free birth for my fourth, as in, like, I just had to go to that. I just thought I just have to go to that appointment, show up and go, I'm pregnant, and then just like be it. Um, and then I said to my partner, they told me that we wouldn't be having a hospital birth in our town, even though
Mm,
we've had 3 births here,
mm,
because they said my BMI was too high. And like,
mm.
and then again, what an experience that would have been if I didn't um like take full responsibility of my birth and knowingly was going to have it home. Like if I was
Mhm.
actually still listening to them, I
Yeah.
would have been sent an hour away to give birth in a hospital,
Wow.
if I didn't make the choices I did in that pregnancy and had a
Right.
home birth.
Yeah.
um so yeah, yeah, so I'd add to that yeah, that my BMI was too high. But yeah, again, lucky that I wasn't staying in the system. So the fifth one, I was like, you know what, I don't even want to worry about paper trials or midwife. So there was no like going to appointments or anything. There was just like nah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was just not in this pregnancy. And so yeah, so they were 18 months apart. And this one I felt really beautiful
Mm-hmm.
because um I was still breastfeeding. So I was laying down with my with my son, and he bring on sort of labor. Like I remember
Oh
laying
yeah.
down and like I just felt
Hmm.
ooh, like things happening. And then so he went and had his little sleep. I got up and I said to my partner, I think this baby's is on its way.
Hmm.
And then I went to the bathtub, and my daughter, so she would have been a year later, so 5, my daughter was in the bathtub with me with this bucket just pouring this water on my back. and um
Oh.
and then again another quick labor. So this is like maybe an hour and a half, like an hour, from when I was breastfeeding to when the baby was coming. And
Mm-hmm.
then so he came in, he woke up from his sleep, he came in and was breastfeeding while I was in labor.
Hmm.
And so I think that's even amped up everything because next
Hmm.
minute my daughter I was on all fours,
Yeah.
and my daughter was behind me and she goes, I can see a baby's head.
Oh
Like I didn't
wow.
even know.
Wow.
I didn't even know that I had this baby had arrived yet. And so my partner overheard it as well. It's like there's a baby. So he's like jumped in the bathtub and was with my daughter and her hands, and she's so proud of, like, she's like, I touched the baby. Like I was the first one to
Oh.
touch the baby. And like she had everything on her arms. Like she said, this is a little 5-year-old that has my blood, my vernix, poop, like, oh, and she was just, I'm holding my little sister. Like
Oh
she
my
was
God.
like,
That's so
and
beautiful.
yeah. And so yeah, so my partner helped guide her little hands because I was on all fours. I couldn't
Hmm.
really reach the baby. So they were
Hmm.
guiding the baby up from behind underneath me.
Hmm.
And my daughter was just clung on to me all like day, just kind of like,
Oh,
that's my baby sister. Like it was so
that's so
beautiful.
sweet. That's the cutest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, so that was just the most proudest moment of my life. Like my
Hmm.
daughter was my little like just helper in labor, but it was just so natural for her to see, and the fact that she knew what she was looking at, like she was like a
Yeah.
baby's head.
Yeah. Oh, and what a special moment. Are those two like really closely bonded because
Yes,
of that?
yeah, because my they're the only two girls in the family. We have a lot of boys, so they're
Okay.
always going to be close. But yeah, they're actually really close, and she
Oh,
loves telling her that she was the first person to see her, and she's the first person to touch her.
oh, I
Yeah,
love that. That just like makes my heart explode. And that's why women are meant to birth at home with their children around if
yeah,
they want to be there. So they have these beautiful moments to remember that she
yeah.
was the first one to see and touch that her baby sister. She'll
Yeah.
carry that on for the rest of her life. That's amazing.
I know. And like whenever you ask her anything, she's like, I want to be a mummy and I want to have lots of kids. And I like she's just very like she thinks it's the most proudest of, like growing up you feel like being a mum is not worthy, like as in it's not a job, it's not this, it's not that. Where
Mhm.
she feels that being a mother is the most important thing in the world. And I feel like I've just changed that whole family mother culture with her, as if to say
Mhm.
like being a mum at home is not the worst thing in the world. It's not a job. It's not this. It's not that. This
Yeah.
it's the most incredible thing you could be doing is giving life. And she actually
Mhm.
recognizes it, and she's just like, I want to be a mum. I want to give birth. She's like, I
Oh,
want as many kids as you.
oh my
Like
gosh, I
yeah.
love that.
And I love that. But yeah, and she's always like, I want to have like she's very like I want to have a home birth. I want this.
Mhm.
Like she's just ready planning her birth. Like and it's just kind of like because most people like I remember growing up, I didn't know anything about birth. I had never seen it before. And like for all my children to see it and know that it's normal, it's healthy, it's
Mhm.
safe, it's just yeah, so and even my sons are like, what happens if my girlfriend doesn't want a home birth? Like it's just kind of
I love that. That's so
so
cute.
we've had pretty deep conversations about home.
Oh my gosh, I love that. He's gonna be such a great partner to whomever he brings kids into the world with, because he's gonna be
Yeah.
like, yeah, just have your baby at home. It's great.
So yeah, again, beautiful birth. Placenta came out straight away, magically, just yeah, no problems.
Mm,
We and yeah, so postpartum again was just beautiful. Tandem feeding,
mm.
like yeah, just being at home with the family with the kids, and then so we had so my yeah daughter's 3 now, so yeah we decided. Oh no, we kind of had a surprise, as in like we weren't planning on any more kids, so we were just like, I think we could possibly be done now. Like we've got 5 kids.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we had that conversation where we were like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna have any more babies. And
Mhm.
then a month later, last year, um, we like I was very like my cycle always came on the dot. I
Yep.
knew kind of like methods, as in like I knew when I was ovulating, so I knew when not to
Mhm.
try for a baby and when to try for a baby. And
Mhm.
so um one day last year it was 30 days since my period, and I was like, Mitchell, I was
Mhm.
like, I think I'm pregnant. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I'm like, I was due for my period yesterday, it didn't come. And he's like, well, he said, do they come exactly on the day? And I'm like, yes,
Mhm.
exactly,
Mhm.
29-day cycle. And
Mhm.
then he was kind of like a bit iffy. He's like, but he was like, I'm not quite sure when we would have conceived the baby. Like, so I think that my ovulation must have just kind of happened differently that month. because
Okay.
like yeah, we kind of I don't know like, and then we had a surprise, but I mean a surprise pregnancy where it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Right. And
And
how
I used to
long,
laugh.
sorry, how
I
long
used
was
to,
this
I
after
used,
your most recent
oh
baby?
so so again, maybe she was about to turn 2. So yeah, she's
Okay.
about 2 years. So 2 year
Okay.
gap.
Okay.
Um, so then most of the time I used to laugh at people when they go, "Oh, it was unplanned baby," because I was thinking, all babies are planned. Like you know what
Mm.
you're doing. But this time I was like, it wasn't planned. Like I didn't know what happened. I was like, I was calculating. Well, I must have ovulated that day instead of that day. I'm like,
Mhm.
I was there. So I don't know what happened. But then at the time, um, because I had thought that we weren't having any more babies, I thought, okay, I don't know. I just thought, I don't think I'm ready. Maybe I don't want this baby. And so, like, it was the first time I had these thoughts about any pregnancies. Like, I'm always been really excited. And,
Mhm.
and this time it lasted only a few days, but in that few days, I kind of thought, okay, I think I need to send this little soul like away. And
Mhm.
I ended up telling my partner a few weeks later when
Mhm.
yeah but yeah I said to this baby, I said, you don't have to be here if you don't want to be here. And that was it. And I forgot that I had this conversation with this baby. And because a few days later, even maybe a week later, me and my partner were like, yeah, we're pumped, we're having another baby. And like we were just kind of was like, yeah, we can rearrange things. We kind of, because we, cars, everything kind of changes, starts changing
Yeah.
when you can't fit anyone in the car doors every day.
Yeah,
Like,
you've got a whole bunch.
so like, no, we can do this. We can. And then so yeah, that kind of conversation I had with this spirit baby in my belly at the time kind of left. And then
Mhm.
I was like telling the kids that we're having a baby, and we were just like, yeah, we're doing it again. And then around 8 weeks, so yeah, 2 months in, I started contracting, and then straight away I was like, I know I told you to go, but I didn't mean it. And like I just felt like I wasn't feeling like it was my fault, but like
Mhm.
I felt that if anything, I felt how strong and powerful your mind is
Yeah.
in any situation. The fact that
Mhm.
I had told this baby to leave and then it left, like kind of, I don't know, it's a really very powerful experience to describe that and
Mhm.
trying to explain to people that how strong your mind is like when
Yeah.
yeah, you talk to your body when you talk to your babies, and when whether you calling babies in or when you calling babies out, like kind of
Mhm.
thing. It works both ways, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because yeah, I felt very not guilty, but I said straight away to my partner, I think it possibly could have happened because I told this baby to leave
Mhm.
when we first found out.
Okay.
And so again, I was very accepting of it. It was upsetting, obviously, when you're in like physical pain and you're losing the baby, but I knew
Mhm.
it wasn't meant to be with us. But again, knowing how strong words are, I was
Mhm.
like, can you please come back again? Like when you're
Right.
ready. I said, when you're ready, can you please come back again? And
Mhm.
because yeah, I knew straight away that I didn't, it was kind of more, I don't know, maybe it was meant to be, but it yeah, whatever unfolded because I think it had to
Mhm.
happen because of what happened next.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and so we had our loss, and we buried, and we had a beautiful ceremony again. All the
Mhm.
children looked at the beautiful baby and said goodbye.
Mhm.
And then yeah, again, me and my partner, we said we're not going to try, but we're not going to not try. Like we
Right.
kind of like, let's just cruise and see what's going to happen. and
Yeah.
but yeah, I was calling this baby, and I knew I wanted this baby back, and I didn't know. I don't know. I just felt like I just I knew the soul was still there,
Mhm.
and then I fell pregnant straight away, and then again while pregnancy, no tests, no ultrasounds, and then things started changing around 30-week mark.
Mhm.
Like most of my pregnancy was very the same. And then around the 30-week mark, I started getting severe everything, like severe heartburn. Like I had not I wouldn't say I had the severe morning sickness, but yeah, I was always nauseous and
Mhm.
wanted to like vomit, and everything was very heightened in this
Mhm.
pregnancy. And and then like my feet were swollen. I was itchy everywhere. Like it was so weird this pregnancy. And I said to Mitchell, and a month passed, and I had a huge belly. Like for me, because I'm such a small height, I'm only like 5 foot. Like I'm only like little, and I had this huge belly, and and I said to Mitchell, you know what? I think it could be twins in here.
Oh.
And we laughed and we were like, oh, no, I'm just really fat.
Oh.
So we, hey,
Hi.
Missy, oh, you found an ad. Chase there, do you want to go see Chase? Thank you, Missy. You keep that for later. and and yeah, so I felt huge, and then um I would get hiccups really high up in my belly, and then I would get hiccups really low in my belly, and then and one after each other. So I'd have hiccups really high, and I could feel it like from outside my belly, and then I'd say to Mitchell, "Can you feel the hiccups?" He goes, "Yeah." Where's Papa? And then so then I felt, and I said, you can't feel these ones, but I feel these really low hiccups, like really low. And then I'd measured my belly with a tape, and I was 34 weeks, and my belly would say 40 weeks, and I was like, oh, like I was just like, maybe I've measured it wrong, I don't know. But again, I said to Mitchell, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking this, but yeah, I don't know what we're thinking. Like, and then I felt like, because I felt the hiccups really high, I said to Mitchell, I think this baby's breech. I said, oh, that's what I was like. No, I'm like, I think this is different because this baby's breech, and all the other babies were head down. And then so I was like, so I was not freaking out, but I was Googling like how to turn a baby, how to do this, how to do that. Because like again, like I didn't know anything about breech. Like my partner was born breech.
Oh wow.
But,
Okay.
yeah. But he was probably the only person that I knew was born breech, and he was born like 30 years ago. So like it's not something you hear much. And so like so then I was like, okay, it must be breech. So then but then after the first freak out, I was like, you know what? This baby's gonna come out vaginally, and I know I can do this. And so then the weeks had passed on, and then I still had, like, me and my partner was still like, oh, like my belly's huge. Like it's not huge as in like it was abnormally huge. It was just big for me. Like it was kind of like a lot of people in my pregnancies aren't sure I'm pregnant, or just a bit chunky, like because they kind of like, are you pregnant? And I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant. But this one, everyone's like, oh, how far along are you? Like, everyone kind of knew that I was pregnant. There was no like, oh, are you pregnant? So around 38 weeks, I woke up, it was around, was a I woke up at 5 o'clock because it was weird. I was having a dream. Usually people tell me they have dreams that they need to do a wee and their waters break.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard that. Like I've heard those stories where people wake up and they need a wee, but their waters break. And this time I had a dream that I need to go and do a poo. Okay, wake up. And then my daughter woke up at the same time, so I was feeding her. I was breastfeeding, and then next minute I started getting this pain in my vagina. Like it wasn't like with my other pregnancies. I'd get like a whole wave of motions around my belly and my back, like kind of every few minutes when I was like in labor. This time I was just holding my vagina, going like, "Oh, I've got a pain there," and so I got up and I went and like had a shower. No, I hadn't had a shower yet. So I woke up and I went on the yoga board, and I was like, nah, this is making my vagina worse because I'm sitting on it. So I was like, oh no. And then so I woke up my partner, and I said to him, because before this, I wanted, even though my kids have always been around my last labors, I wanted something more intimate with my partner. Like I didn't want to go wake kids up if I was in labor. I'd just prefer to have just an intimate moment with my husband. And because I thought this is going to be possibly our last like birth. I just want it to be me and my partner. So I woke him up, and I thought, I said to Mitchell, I don't know what's going on. It's got a sore vagina. Do you want to stay up with me? Like, just get up with me and kind of just be together before the kids wake up because we have so many kids. Like, we have 5 kids now. And so he got up. And then I was like, oh, like it was like the pain in the vagina was still like contracting because it would come and go. And then I went and had a shower, and then next minute I was laughing with Mitchell, going like, I don't think I'm in labor, but at least we're spending some time together on our own. And next minute, I just kind of the pain in my vagina. I just kind of at that moment, I just thought like I just had to release it. I just kind of felt like it was more like I was clenching, if anything. Like, and I was like, okay, I think I'm clenching. I need to let go. And I just kind of let go, like how you kind of hold in your vagina and then kind of just breathe it out. And I did that, and this waters just broke. And then
wow.
I was like, and Mitch was like, I think you are. And then I was like, I think I need to push. and then so like the vagina, I think the whole time was kind of more like a pushing like feeling, but I wasn't aware of it. Like, so it was kind of like things were happening in my sleep, and then the dream of pooping was more me like trying to push like this day. I don't know, it's really weird. So I started, so we went from the shower. I could hardly dry myself because I'm so big, so my partner's drying me. And then, I was like, and he gives me my pajamas. I'm like, no, I don't think I need clothes, this baby's coming. and then we walked into the lounge room, so it's like a meter from the shower in the lounge room. And then I had my yoga ball, and I was just leaning on it. Oh no, and then Mitch was kind of like, he got my rebozo and was kind of like shaking my belly or my back. And I was like, no. I said, no, this is weird. Don't shake. I said, this baby's coming now. Like, it wasn't, he thought I might have been in labor for a few hours, like kind of, okay, let's settle in. I'll give her massages and stuff. And I'm like, no. I said, this baby's coming. And so it's pretty much from getting up from my bed to the bathroom, this baby was coming. And next minute, yeah, so the kids are all asleep, but in the corner of my eye, I seen my fourth child, my first free birth child, come in. And he was like, "Is the baby coming?" I said, and I wasn't. So I was kind of like in my zone. And then he must have went and woke all the kids up. Okay. And he went and told everyone, like, the baby's coming, the baby's coming. I love hearing it when he tells me his version of events. He's always like, I went to every room going, the baby's coming, the baby's coming. And then so everyone was out by time. Yeah, so they only just caught the baby coming out, because from him going to the bedrooms and coming out, next minute Mitch is like, I was on all fours on the yoga ball, and he's like, Neala, put your hand underneath. And I put my hand underneath, and he goes, Neala, that's a baby's bum. And I was like, and then I was feeling like a kind of like it was like a hacky, like it was just like a bag. Like it was kind of saggy, like, you know, I felt a head and it's solid and big, and like I just felt this like little saggy bag. And in my head, I didn't really register that meant breach. I just thought, oh, I'm feeling the baby's bum. So he told me, like, when I had bent over the yoga ball, he could see a foot, but he didn't want to tell me. He was like, he's like, I can see a foot, but he said he just went, like, it went so quick. He said it just went, I seen this foot, and this bum came out.
Wow.
So he helped again, because I was just focused on like my hands and knees, because in my head, before this birth, I said to Mitchell, I really want to like grab the baby and do it myself, but I was just again in a position where I couldn't reach. Like I was like, so Mitchell had to pass the baby up towards me, but so he helped with the baby through my legs, and I was holding this baby, and Mitch is like, it was breech, and I was like registering, going, oh my god, it was breech. And I'm like, I knew the baby was breech. And I'm like, that's why the pregnancy was so different and just heightened and different. And then so everyone's surrounding me, we're all laughing, and then they're like, is it a boy or girl? And I looked, and I'm like, it's a little boy. And we're just all, and like my son, that was his first experience of a loss, before like the other older kids had
I've
felt a
seen
loss.
it.
And then
Mm.
but so he was so excited. He's like, my baby brother, I finally have my baby brother. And he was just so over the
Aww.
moon. And then he and then yeah, what happened after that? So I was holding the baby, and next minute I got a little message going, babies are sleeping.
Oh, cute.
um yeah, so I was leaning up against the yoga ball, still holding this baby, and then yeah, so we were laughing, we were over the moon. I felt like I thought I was amazing. I just gave birth to a breech baby.
Mm-hmm.
And like, unfortunately, because everything from what I just told you what happened, like, we didn't get any pictures. Not that in my head I said I didn't want pictures. I didn't want the kids taking photos. I wanted everyone to be present
Mm-hmm.
and kind of soak in everything and not feel like they had jobs to do.
Right.
So like, but I said to Mitch, out of all the pregnancies, we didn't want to we didn't want to take a picture of this one. But, so we're still laughing, and so yeah, so that was like a 15-20 minute like get up from my bed to the
Mm.
bathroom to the lounge room floor. So like, yeah, so it was pretty much less than 20 minutes his baby arrived. And next
Mm-hmm.
minute I was like, I said to Mitchell, oh, there's something. I said, I've got another pain. And then I don't know, straight away, I was like, there's another one. And, like, I knew my placentas
Mm-hmm.
kind of just slowly fall out. Like,
Yeah.
they don't really, like, I don't get cramps or bad pain. So, like, I was
Yeah.
holding this baby, and next minute, my vagina was open again. I was like, there's another one, there's another one. And everyone,
Wow.
the kids were all just like, no way, no way. So Mitch is going back around. So he's like, do you want me to hold the baby? I'm like, no, I'll hold the baby, because the scent of the umbilical cord was quite short still. Like, I couldn't really lift the baby up too far.
Okay.
So so I had to put the baby down. Oh no, so I was holding the baby as I was contracting, but I eventually had to put the baby down to kind
Mm-hmm.
of really feel what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And next minute Mitch is like, yeah, I see a head.
Wow.
And so like all my other kids, yeah, came around to have a look. So yeah, they caught that baby because the first baby just came out so quickly, and then
Mm.
everyone was having a look and was like, yeah, there's another baby. And then Mitchell was like, oh my god, Neala, the baby's in its bag. And I just remember lifting my leg up, and this little baby looked like it was in a handbag. Like,
Oh my
and,
God.
and I don't know how, because as soon as I touched the baby, it kind of all dispersed and kind of opened up. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how Mitchell held this baby and passed it to me without it popping. So it was like, I was so happy that it stayed intact for me to hold.
Yeah.
And so yes, I've picked up this baby, and I'm just like, I picked up the other baby. I'm just like, oh my god, we've got
Oh,
twins.
wow,
And
that's
oh,
amazing.
yeah, so we were just over the moon, like we were just laughing again, like, I don't know, like in labor, you usually crying, like in hospital, I remember crying, just kind of like, oh, I don't like this. Where we're just laughing and giggling and thinking this is the best thing in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this, I was on top of the world. I was thinking this is such an epic ending, like, to such a wild pregnancy.
Totally.
And then and then the placenta came out pretty much straight after, and it was just one, so I'm not
Mm.
quite sure if they're identical or they fused. And yeah, but I just thought that was just like my head.
Wow.
So that was 6 weeks ago. So like I said, I'm still in this postpartum high of having twins.
Totally.
um,
You're still right in the thick of it. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Wow.
So I'm still breastfeeding the toddlers and the baby. So I'm breastfeeding 4 kids.
No way. 4 children right now.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'll
Mama,
have to
you
send
are
you some pictures. Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, so like, yeah, life is definitely a bit different with twins. Like, this is like the first time I've got hands. Usually I've just
Mhm.
got, yeah, like I've got to have big muscles by the end of it. Usually
Yeah.
holding two babies.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. And this time as well with the placenta, we did a lotus birth, and
Oh,
um
cool.
and so that was my first experience with it. And I felt like, out of all, again, things happen for a reason. I just felt like
Mm,
it had to be with this pregnancy, because when
mm,
the babies came out, you could
mm.
tell that one of the baby was a bit smaller than the other.
Okay.
and so I felt like um having that lotus birth, he stayed on his placenta a lot longer, and I think that like just helped him thrive more, because I knew like in a hospital system they would have probably rushed him away, put him in a crib, separated him from his brother, separated him from me. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew straight away, I was like, I said to Mitchell, this baby needs kangaroo care, and just be on me all the time and
Mm-hmm.
not be separated from his brother. Like he has to
Mm-hmm.
be together. So for
Yeah.
4 or 5 days straight, they were just naked on me, in my bed, just kind of, we're just bonding, connecting, and just he was
Mm-hmm.
thriving. He was so beautiful. And the lotus birth, I think, helped that too, because I know
Mm-hmm.
how easy it is for someone to pick up a baby and just leave the room. Like,
Yeah.
so no one
Totally.
could take his brother away. Like, they were
Yeah.
literally connected together with the lotus birth. So there was no like, oh, I'll take the baby and let you sleep or anything. It was kind of like, these
Mm-hmm.
babies are on me, and
Mm-hmm.
they're sticking together. And it was so
Wow.
like, yeah, and so um the the breech baby, his placenta fell off. Um, I think 4 or 5 days in. So yeah, pretty much, yeah, 5 days in,
Mm-hmm.
his placenta, 4 days in, his placenta, umbilical cord dropped off,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was only the youngest one that stayed on. And I knew he just kind of wasn't ready yet to leave the placenta, and he just wanted to stay on me, not be shared around with his siblings or anyone. Like he just wanted to still stay on
Mm-hmm.
with me. And then 2 days after, his umbilical cord fell off. So then we had our ceremony with the placenta and buried it. But
Wow.
that was an incredible experience to have that lotus birth. It just made everything so slow, so
Mm-hmm.
restful, and just and keep the baby. There was no excuse for the baby to leave me. Like it was kind of like, I've got
Mm-hmm.
their placenta with me, they stay with me. And I think
Yeah.
it was, I might have not had that experience with the other kids, but I felt like that twin needed that experience. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and so yeah, so um, yeah, that baby, he's like big chunker now, like 6 weeks, he's already huge chunker. Like I remember, and I said to Mitchell, I wish I kind of like. I wasn't scared that he was so little, but I suppose he was the smallest baby I had ever seen,
Okay,
and
yeah.
so I was kind of like, oh, he's so fragile, he's so little, like
Mm,
I need to protect him.
yeah.
Where I was like, I said to Mitchell, I could have enjoyed it a bit more and just kind of was like, oh,
Mm,
he's strong. Like my body knew, like I knew my body could make that baby that
mm-hmm.
size to fit in my belly, because I was so
Mm,
little, as in structure wise, I wasn't ever going to
mm,
have like 3 or 4 kilo babies.
mm-hmm.
So one twin was 2.5, and the other twin was just over 2 kilos. And so I'm
Okay.
not sure if that's something to worry about or not. I didn't want to ask
Um,
anyone. I didn't want to ask any midwives.
I'm just trying to
um,
think, two, because you do kilos in Canada, we do pounds. So
oh,
two, you said 2.5 kilos,
so
so that'd be about 6 pounds, maybe?
I think it was 4 pounds, 10 ounces.
Okay, 4 pounds. The
Yeah.
smallest one.
Um, yeah, the smallest
Smallest.
one.
And then the first
The other
baby,
one was 5 pounds
about five
and five
pounds.
ounces. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. For
So yeah,
twins,
so
honestly, that's I would say that's in the range of normal for twins because
yeah,
they two babies. Yeah.
yeah. So I wasn't sure to be freaking out or not, but I was like, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. This baby's just having skin to skin, and yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I like, yeah, he was just thriving. Boys, the
Mm.
brothers bonded so beautifully. Like yeah. So I knew that that was the way that was meant to be.
And
Anyway.
yeah, honestly, you followed that motherly instinct. Like I don't think I've ever heard of twins having a lotus birth before, but that was so genius. Like that was so
Yeah.
smart that you had these two babies and kept them together on their placenta or connected to their placenta, pardon, and did the kangaroo care for 5 days straight. Because you're right, if you had those twins in the hospital or even at home and there was a medical
Mm,
midwife present, they would have cut those cords immediately. They would have
yeah.
separated you. They probably would have separated the babies at first. Those two children would have been scared, worried.
Yeah.
Their heart rates would start to increase. They would go through stress and trauma responses, and then they would be put in the NICU and like on oxygen.
Yeah.
All of these things to say, oh, your babies are unwell. You've had twins, and they're 4 pounds and 5 pounds, and this isn't right. Whereas
Yeah.
they're perfectly fine. You followed your instinct. You kept the babies connected to your body, connected to their first home with the placenta, which they needed. And obviously, your second son, the second twin, needed to stay with that placenta because he even stayed on a few days longer. Like,
Yeah.
that's so genius. And I'm just like, you're so smart. You're so brilliant because you listened to that instinct and you cared for those children in the exact way that they were asking for you to. Like, that's so beautiful, genius, brilliant. I'm just like so in awe of you.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, you did everything completely perfect for those babies. And like you said, they're little chunky babies now, which is perfect. And you're breastfeeding four children right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so incredible. But yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
it's,
That was really beautiful.
yeah, you should be
Yeah.
so proud of yourself for that. And like, tell everybody that that's what you did for your babies, because that was the best possible thing that you could have done for those twins, was to have your wild pregnancy, birth them at home, kangaroo care them for 5 days, and keep them connected to their placenta. Like, I just,
Mm.
there's no better outcome I could see that could happen besides what you just did for those children. That's
Yeah.
so freaking amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt like, yeah, all of those years of being pregnant just led me there to all that knowledge and wisdom and just kind of, yeah, unlearning, learning. It was just,
Mm-hmm.
it led me here in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, needed to
Yeah.
experience all the experiences to go, this is, yeah, how this will unfold. And it was, yeah, magical. And I just felt like, yeah, we did everything. There was no regrets or anything. We did everything the right way. And
Mm-hmm.
there was, yeah, that it was meant to be. Like, this was, yeah,
Totally. Yeah,
it was
totally.
beautiful.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing these stories. They're so incredible. And this last one is just like blowing my mind. It's just like, yeah, it's so amazing. And gosh, women are so freaking incredible. I love hearing stories like this because it's just gets me so excited and so happy to hear that like this is what women are doing because we can, and
Mm-hmm.
we're powerful and we hold this within our bodies. And when we just follow that natural physiologic design and our innate intuition, like this can happen. And
Yeah.
even though you did experience three losses, you were still able to use those experiences and bring them with you as you were going through all of your pregnancy journeys as well. So yeah, there's just so much that I like
And
take from
I've
this.
got
And
so many stories there.
yeah, no, but they're so great because these stories are just going to be such
Yeah.
beautiful pieces of guidance for other women that are going through this, or think that they're
Yeah.
pregnant with twins or going through losses. And yeah, they can
Yeah.
change that story, that a loss doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it can
Mm.
be transformation into something different. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
then I felt that twin, how I had twins, it came back to that soul, asking that soul to come back. I thought it must be, I don't know, again, that whole
Mm.
trying to connect the dots of these twins coming out of nowhere. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it was the little soul that I told to come back. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And maybe
Yeah.
if you had him and he was
Yeah.
born, single by himself, then this other babe would have come. But then
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, I'm going back," and just grabbed onto his brother and was like, "You want to come with me? We're going. We're gonna stay in this womb because it's just so wonderful to be there."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
so
and,
beautiful.
yeah, and that's why I was so excited to talk to you today, because I just think your work that you're doing here is just so, like, it's the change that we need. It's the stories that we need,
Mhm.
um, and like how with my fourth pregnancy, I went looking for everyone's stories, and I know that what you're doing is exactly what women and girls and sisters and aunties and nieces are all doing right now, is looking for someone's story to
Mhm.
go, that's what I want. That's
Mhm.
that's my dream birth. That's what I want. I didn't know that. Like, yeah, because
Mhm.
a lot of the information is that, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, the medical system didn't tell me I could have a home birth. The medical system didn't tell me a placenta could come out on its own.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So
It's,
I
yeah,
just,
it's,
yeah,
mm, wow. Yeah.
so
Well,
yeah, admire your work. and
thank you.
and yeah, I'm already like sharing it, telling, like, because in Australia we have indigenous Australians here, and I'm already sharing it with sisters that I know that are free birth. I'm like, look at what's happening. Like, there's a free
Hmm.
birth color, like get on it.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Yeah, that makes me so warm in my heart. So, and it's I couldn't do this without women like you being willing to share your beautiful stories. So I extend that gratitude back to you and say thank you for helping me and being a part of this because
Thank you. That's okay. You're doing all the work, and yeah, I'm so proud of you.
oh, thank you. Um, is there anything else that you wanted to say about your birth experiences, your pregnancy experiences, postpartum, or anything of that sort?
um, actually, with the postpartum, this has probably been the best postpartum experience. Consider, like, I know I've got twins, and it's so much more
Mm,
hard work, but we homeschool, and
mm,
I've like I kind of took the initiative to try and really get get the homeschooling community together. So like through COVID and everything,
mm,
we everyone was separated, and I was like, we need community, we need village again,
mm-hmm,
and so I wanted friends for my kids. I wanted to find people that homeschooled. So like yeah, finding free birthing people,
mm.
kind of a lot of free birthers were in this homeschool community. But yeah, like we all aligned with the same things, but yeah, but I like this community started forming in our area, and I was very like, we need to catch up every day. We need to do this. We need to do that, and just kind of very like, I really want to build this community here. And so the last 2 3 years, we've found so many homeschooling families, and then for this birth, I had everyone show up. I had all these homeschooling families drop food off for me, all these snacks, these activities for my kids. We
Yes.
had like a month's supply of food.
Oh
Like
my gosh, that's amazing. Oh.
I've never, ever, ever, ever had that. Out of
Mm,
the six pregnancies I've had, that
mm,
was my first time I had what we called the village, the
mm,
community,
mm,
and like yeah, I know that yeah, it was hard work trying to form. I did it out of the love of my children, that I wanted them to have all these friends that
mm,
homeschooled, but it was such a bonus for me to make these friends with their mothers, and yeah, they really like held me and
mm,
supported me through this postpartum stage without actually physically being here, just
mhm.
dropping food off, the
Yeah.
food train, the activities for my kids. Like it was the best.
Oh, I'm
So
so
yeah,
happy to hear that. I'm so
yeah.
happy that you have a village and it showed up for you and wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah, so out of yeah, if anyone, I know it's hard to ask for help. I know it's hard to build that village, and
Mm-hmm.
it's because I think a lot of people go, well, I didn't have it, so you don't need it. Like sort of
Mm-hmm.
attitude where like once you've received even just one dinner, you're like, wow, that was just so easy. Mitchell didn't have to cook anything. He could just sit with me, with the babies, with the kids. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to worry about going to grocery shopping or anything like that. And it's
Yeah.
so like if anyone out there wants to gift a mother postpartum, like we don't want like baby unless the baby mum wants it. We don't need baby clothes. We don't need people coming over to have a chat. We need that food train. We need like we need that that support from our community of women or men. I suppose I said to my kids, because I have so many boys, they said, how do we help when someone has a baby? And I said, well, when you're older, maybe you can mow your sister's lawn if she has a baby. Because yeah, just I said, do come over and do dishwasher. I don't know, like men can help as well as much as women. But like, yeah, I was very fortunate that we had so many women show up and help us support us through this postpartum stage.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
absolutely.
get on board, everyone. Um, help a mum and just pay it forward. I know sometimes we might not be able to financially support someone at that time, but keep in mind maybe next time you if you can do it then like just kind of if we just keep circulating like that type of pay it forward attitude, the other person on the other end would really appreciate it. Like as much help as they can receive and be open to receiving as well. So I actually said to my one of the mums, I said, could you put a call out and say, like if anyone can help, could they do a food train for me? So like again, I was open. Like usually you kind of feel guilty for asking for help. So she has a mum. No one ever asks for help. Like it's a mum thing. We never want to ask for help. But I knew that it was okay to ask for help. It was okay to go, can you spread the word out and say that I've had the baby if anyone can help? like, yeah, just, yes, like I just wanted someone to spread the word for me without me physically saying I need help. Like, ask
Yeah.
a girlfriend to go, her to be that person to ask for people to start a food train or activities for the kids or just anything. The
Mhm.
mamas, we need the village. And I can compare the other pregnancy postpartum to this postpartum, and this one by far has been the most gentle, easing, and like it was just perfect. I must say, everything from birth to postpartum has been perfect, and I'm
Oh.
very fortunate.
Oh, that's just so lovely to hear that. And it's true. Like, ask for help, mothers. It doesn't make you look weak. It makes you look stronger when you ask for help to get what it is that you need so that you can be able to mother and take care of yourself and take care of your family in the way that's
Yeah,
needed. So, yeah, I'm so
yeah,
glad that you spoke to that piece and really brought that forward. So, thank you.
that's okay.
And then lastly, before I let you go, and get back to your family and your children, how can women reach out to you? Because I'm sure there's going to be women that are like, I think I'm having twins, or you've gone through so many pregnancy
Yeah.
and birth experiences. How can they talk to you and kind of get more insight in what you have gone through?
So I've got an Instagram account called Garden of Gaia. I think if you just put my name in Neala, it would pop up because I don't think there's many Nealas.
Right.
But yeah, so Garden of Gaia is where I post a lot of personal, pregnancy, everything related, things that you can reach out and contact me on. And one thing I'd like to mention as well, that after my fifth birth, I wrote a free birth book. Like it's kind of like a family children's book
Mhm.
about my experiences, and it's not medicalized at all. It's just kind of just I'll put up just a natural pregnancy birth.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just I put breech birth in there.
Oh, beautiful.
So yeah,
Okay.
so breech is just a variation of a birth. The baby's born bottom or feet first, and just very
Oh,
yeah, yeah. It's just a very proud piece of work that
yeah.
I felt like I've done, and yeah, it's just a really there's a your body, your choice. It goes through the alphabet, so ABC
Okay.
pregnancy. So yeah, so it's
Oh
just
my
a really
gosh.
simple
Wow.
thing to for kids to understand as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, so
Can you
I just
hold it
thought
up
I'd
just one
mention.
more time?
So
Oh,
ABC pregnancy.
oh, I love that, Neala. That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. That's that's
So that
amazing.
was inspired by my free birth. So you
Mhm.
won't find any medical talk in it. Just all about intuition, how our bodies function, the placentas, like
Mhm.
everything. Just simple, but just beautiful.
Amazing. And how would women buy that if they wanted to? Do you have like a website that you could send
Oh,
me the link to?
I do have a website, but I think that I've got the website, but to pay for things, I need to upgrade it. So I need to
Okay.
upgrade it
No
and then
worries.
sort that out. But just message me and I can organize it
Okay.
through PayPal and things like that.
Okay.
But if anyone wanted to purchase it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that book looks amazing. I'm gonna speak to you after this because I want to get one. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Neala, for taking the time away from your big family to speak and share your beautiful stories. And I'm just so, so grateful and so in awe of you and everything that you've gone through in your
Thank
whole
you.
entirety of your mothering journey. It's so incredible. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sisters, so much for listening to this episode of the Free Birthing in Color podcast. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one in a primal activation session, donate to the podcast, or to have your story featured here or in the blog, go to primalwomanportal.com for all the information to do so. Did you want to connect with our guest speaker? You can find all her information linked within the show notes. And if you have time, please subscribe, write a review, and tell a friend to have a listen so that this podcast and these stories of women birthing in their total power can be shared far and wide. Don't forget to check out the show notes for information on the Earth Daughters Women's Festival, the Breach Without Borders workshop, and much more. New episodes drop every Thursday morning, so stay tuned for the next amazing story to be shared on any platform that you prefer to listen to your podcasts on, or watch these episodes on the Free Birthing in Color YouTube page. And remember, your voice and your story matters. So if you're a woman of color or an Indigenous woman who's had a wild pregnancy and or birth outside of the medical system, submit your story because it's so important that your voice is heard and celebrated in your radical journey of pregnancy, birth, and motherhood.